Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am doing spring book recommendations. Books that remind me of the springtime, whether that be the cover, the subject matter, whatever, just like springtime books, okay? I originally wanted to do like horror recommendations for the springtime, but it is really hard to find like horror books that remind you of the spring. I have about 1,000 that remind me of the summer, so like that's a video that I can film in the summertime, but spring is a hard one. So I included a whole bunch of different genres. There's a lot of like thrillers, there's a few horror, not many, nonfiction, like one romance. So it's just like a mixture of genres. So if you like my videos and you like horror, thriller, extreme horror, definitely make sure you give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future content. I'm sorry if I seem off today. I'm really going through it lately. Medically, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, also not well. So I'm just gonna kind of hang out today and we're gonna start going through some books. I am not one of those romance girlies on YouTube that are like, here are all the cutesy romances I recommend for spring. Listen, there's nothing cutesy about me or my personality. So this was very difficult. Some of them I'm reaching a little bit, but that's okay. The first books I wanted to recommend are by none other than Lisa Jewell. I love her. I'm a Lisa Jewell stan. And the first one I have is a thriller. It's The Girls in the Garden by Lisa Jewell. It's this thriller where there's these two younger girls, and her mom, they live in this little community where there's this little garden where all the neighbors share this garden and they all kind of run in and out. All the kids, they run in and out of each other's houses and they share this little community garden together. And one day one of the girls is found unconscious. So we don't know, is she dead? Is she not? Like, what happened to this? She's like 10 or something. 13. 13. So like what happened to this 13-year-old girl? You're learning all the family tea, all the secrets about the neighbors. Everyone's peeking out their windows. It's one of those types of thrillers, and you just can't go wrong with a Lisa Jewell. And the garden and the flowers, it just reminds me of springtime. Another Lisa Jewell that literally takes place on Easter is The House We Grew Up In. This is more of a contemporary story, so it's not a thriller. I went in thinking it was a thriller. It's not. It's a contemporary story about this family, and one day on Easter, something tragic happens to one of the children. And come here. You can come up. Come here. Come on. She's hesitant. Come on, good girl. So on Easter, something tragic happens to this family, and you're just kind of learning what happens and how this family kind of falls apart ever since that incident occurred. And it's a lot of family trauma, family secrets, family drama. If you're into one of those, I would definitely check this one out. Not my favorite Lisa Jewell, but even like, there's no such thing as a bad Lisa Jewell. You know what I mean? Like, even Lisa Jewell books that are not as good as her other books still aren't bad. So definitely check this one out if you're looking for like a family drama. Then as far as romance goes, I'm not a romance girly. We know this, but I have recently read and finished all 4 of the Heartstopper graphic novels, and look at this color combo. Can you get any more spring than this? This is about Nick and Charlie, this gay couple. They are 15, 16, and they are just navigating like coming out and discovering their sexuality and their identity, and, you know, coming out to their parents and their friends and their peers and dealing with their peers and like all the things that you deal with in school, you know, coming out. And it's just so cute. And then the Netflix show is adorable. I would die for Nick and Charlie. Next, I have a thriller, and it is Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica. Look at this purple pink moment. It's giving spring, it's giving cloudy, rainy spring day. But this is this thriller where women and children start going missing in this neighborhood, and then one day, one of the girls, like the child, shows up out of nowhere, and we're trying to piece together like what happened to her, what happened to her mom, what happened to everyone that went missing in this neighborhood. And it's like all the neighbors are gossiping, they're peeking out the windows. It's like you have to figure out like which person in the neighborhood is sketchy. And I just love this sort of thriller vibe where it's just like twist after twist and you don't know who is doing what and what neighbor is suspicious, like who's telling lies. It's one of those moments, and this was like, I don't know, such a good thriller to me. This was like one of the few 5-star thrillers that I've had. This thriller just like had me in a chokehold. The entire book, I just had to keep reading and needed to know what was going on. It was so twisty, so good, and I highly recommend. And then another book that I absolutely love with my whole entire heart is The Push by Ashley Audrain. Look at this color combo, the light blue, the purple, the springtime vibes. Very depressing book though. If you're looking for like a fun spring fling moment, this is sad. This book made me so depressed. So we are following this woman who gives birth and doesn't really feel a connection to her daughter, and she's going through some, you know, postpartum depression, and she just doesn't feel connected to this child. And then she ends up having a son that she has a very deep connection with, and it's just like the two pregnancies and the two kids are just total opposite situation, and you're just following their life and some like tragic things that happen to this family, and it is so sad, so depressing, and it's more of like a psychological drama. It's not so much a thriller. It has like a teeny tiny little thriller aspect to it, but it's very much like drama, suspense, psychological, contemporary, literary. What am I saying? I don't know how to classify this as a genre, but one of the most beautifully written books ever. I can't wait for Ashley Audrain's new release this year. I'm dying to get my hands on it, and obsessed with this one. Then another thriller that I read recently is How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano, I think is the author's name. But this one, look at the pinks and oranges. It just is like a little spring moment on the cover. And this one is, we're following, it's brand new, it just came out in March, and we're following these 3 identical triplet serial killers, and they basically make men fall in love with them and then murder them. So they just love to murder men that they're in relationships with. And they all kind of take turns, and they all kind of influence one another, and the main character, the one triplet that we're reading from the perspective of, she's not really sure if she agrees with all this. And she meets this guy, and she's like, okay, that's the one that I'm gonna make fall in love with me, and I'm gonna kill him. But then she starts catching feelings for him and actually falling in love with him. So now all these like secrets, family secrets, start revealing themselves. If you like thrillers that have female serial killer leads, and you don't mind a little bit of romance with your murder, I think this might be the perfect book for you. It is a little ridiculous at times, it is a little slow at times, but I really enjoyed this one. Next, getting into some horror, I have What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. This one is an Edgar Allan Poe retelling. It's The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, retelling the story about the Usher house and just like the mysterious weird things that are going on in this house, and specifically what's going on with Madeline. And you know, she's going mad, as they say. She has a case of, what do they call it? She's consumed by a mysterious malady of the nerves. So this one was obviously way easier to understand than Edgar Allan Poe, but also look, it has a lot to do with rabbits, hares as they say in the book. It is a, what is it called when things involve mushrooms? Fungal horror? Gothic horror, mushrooms, hares. Look at these little rabbits in here. Look at that guy. Look at him. Look at him. He's adorable. And it just reminds me of spring. I have this one, Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel. The pretty little like aqua baby blue. And babies for some reason remind me of spring. I don't know. Is that a thing? Like, do people have more babies in the spring? I think animals that aren't humans have a lot of babies in the spring, making babies in the spring. So this baby head, this squished baby head, for some reason, reminds me of spring. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm reaching in this video. I told you, but it works, okay? I love this book. So this is about, it's a cult book. So we're following this girl, and when she was younger, her and her cousin escaped from this cult. And now in present day, she meets back up with her cousin and they develop a friendship again and find each other after like years because they were separated as kids. And now her cousin runs this business where she helps kind of like grieving mothers. She has this like baby doll business. So she kind of uses these dolls as like therapy for these grieving mothers. But Belle likes to scratch her nails along the wall and it is disgusting. I'm sorry if you just heard that. So anyways, and then our main character starts realizing there's some weird things going on with her cousin. I love this one. It got like batshit wild towards the middle end part of this book. The end read like a thriller. There was just some shocking twists and moments in this book that I did not see coming. I really like its interesting take on motherhood and how not every freaking woman wants to be a mother. If that's you, go read this book. Then if you're looking for something a little more extreme, I have one recommendation here. It's The Slob by Erin Beauregard. The Slob, spring cleaning, okay? In this book, we are following this woman who is a door-to-door vacuum saleswoman, and she comes in contact with a man known as the Slob. His house is disgusting. He is disgusting. Everything is a disgusting, disheveled mess, and she goes in there and might not make it back out. And it is extreme, extreme horror, gore, violence, splatterpunk, like disgusting, disturbing, every trigger warning imaginable. If that's what you're looking for, go read this book. And I have two nonfiction recommendations here. The first one being I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Look at this. Yellow and pink. What more could you want, right? So in this book, it is obviously Jeanette McCurdy from Nickelodeon, her autobiography about her childhood abuse growing up in her home with her mom, and how she developed like an eating disorder from a young age, and kind of just the crazy shit that she was put through physically and mentally as a child and on the set of Nickelodeon. So well done, so well written, and just so beautifully vulnerable. This book was just so well done, and I can see a lot of people probably finding this to be helpful navigating their own situations with abuse and not realizing that it's abuse until you're an adult. So yeah, this one, so good. And then if you're looking for something a little more rage-provoking, well, that one's also rage-provoking, but we have a medical book here, What Doesn't Kill You, A Life of Chronic Illness, Lessons from a Body in Revolt by Tessa Miller. Look at the little floral arrangement on the cover here. So this one, the author has Crohn's disease, and she's basically going over like everything that sucks about having a chronic illness, from not just physical pain, but the way doctors treat you, insurance company, politics, literally so much factual information about like what is wrong with our world, what is wrong with America in terms of like, you know, financial issues, finding care. It's just really, really crazy. To think about, you know, the fact that we're in 2023 now and these things have been the same for forever, and it just is depressing, but a very thought-provoking and real, honest, vulnerable read. I think if you have a chronic illness, you will definitely appreciate this one. If you're someone that wants to learn more about chronic illness and pain, you will appreciate this one as well, and it's very well done. So yeah, that is it. Those are my spring recommendations. Let me know if you liked any of these in the comments down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!